Hi, I'm Nick, and I help people become the best version of themselves and achieve those out of reach goals by releasing the hidden capacity we all have within us. And in this video, I want to look at the process of how to achieve those out of reach goals. So to do this, I'm going to break it down. And the first thing I want to do is get really clear on what we mean by goals. So first of all, there's two kinds of goals. There are what I call achievement goals, and then there are maintenance goals. So a maintenance goal would be something that you want to do on an ongoing basis. I want to go to the gym 3 times a week. I want to make sure I call my mother every week. I want to go and see my mother 3 times a week and go to the gym once a week. You get the idea. But an achievement goal is one which you can tick off and go, yep, done it. Yeah. So examples of an achievement goal is I want to go to the gym once this week. Tick, I've done it. Yeah. But it also, that's hardly an out of reach goal. What we're looking for is something that really matters to you, that would make a significant difference in your life. So a goal is really no more than a desired result, which you could argue is a dream. And it's been said before that a goal is a dream with a deadline. Yeah. And it's about picking those things that really matter to you. So if you decided, for example, you wanted to move from the country that you're living in to a different country, that is a big goal. Yeah, and it may well be an out of reach goal. Don't know. You'll know in your circumstance. If you want to change your career, that's a real challenging goal. It'll involve a number of steps and an amount of commitment. And that's the sort of thing that we're looking at here. I've got a goal to write this year. I have a very out of reach goal to write a really good book. I've written a not very good book, I now realise in retrospect, and I want to write a very good one. And it's out of reach because it requires the application of skills that I don't currently have. And I've set a very high quality threshold. So that's why for me it's an out of reach goal. So you need to look at the reasons why you're choosing a certain goal. Am I looking to write a book so that everyone can look at me and go, oh, look at him, he's written a book? That's really not going to really motivate me for a long time. So, whereas if, for example, if you're looking for, maybe you're looking at career change, you know what? I've always fancied being in the police. Check, and with yourself, why do you think that? Is it because you're a big fan of police thrillers? Have you read those great books, seen the films, watched the TV, etc.? And are they true to life? Is that how it will be? Or I want to go into medicine because all the people in medicine are so glamorous and gorgeous. So really challenge the goal. Really ask yourself, why really do I want to achieve this? What would be different in my life if I achieved this? If I didn't achieve it, what would that mean? If I put all the effort in and still didn't get there, would it be worth it? So you need to really question yourself before you own it as a goal. Yeah, don't put pressure on yourself and come up with a goal. I mean, we all did it as kids. Who certainly wanted to be a footballer when I grew up. Sadly, never achieved. But how many of those unrealised dreams do we still sort of hang on to and hope one day they'll come true? But this is not about hoping. This is about directing your efforts, your motivations, and all of your being towards an achievement. So you have to be really clear it's what you really, really want. Spend lots of time researching. So, for example, you're looking to change the country in which you live. Check out the country in which you have an idea about. Where does it come from, the idea that you want to live in this other country? Maybe you went there as a child on a holiday. Well, it's a very different experience, isn't it? Going to a country, A, for a holiday, and B, as a child, than living there as an adult. But maybe no, maybe it is something that you really, really want to do. But let's, rather than just indulge your childhood fantasy, just really be clear with your adult head on. This is what I really want to do. And if you do, and you have other people in your life, does my goal, my dream also work for them? Is it theirs as well? You know, if you're in a family and you want to move to another country, but your partner's not so keen, the kids aren't so sure, you really need to have very serious conversations about this before you commit it to becoming a goal. So there's a lot of work to be done before you go, this is my goal. You know, and I'm sure you're familiar with SMART goals. I completely concur with the idea that a goal should be specific. Yep, so it's very, very clear, and it should be measurable so you know that it's done it. I'm not so comfortable with the idea of achievable and realistic. Yeah, I get the time bound. Yep, you've got to put a time limit on it. Maybe, you know, and my goal is to write a book this year. If I get writing and I find by December 31st I've not finished it, does it make it invalid? I don't think so. If I have to shift it, I have to shift it. But it's good to set a time slot for it. But I'm really uncomfortable with the idea that something has to be achievable or realistic. I mean, I get it at the extremes. It's unlikely, it's unrealistic that I will now become a professional footballer. I'm almost resigned to that fact now. Yeah, I get it at that point. But you know what? There's 1,000 million people out there who will tell you that you can't change your career, that you don't have the skills, that you have commitments that will stop you from doing that. But who are they to tell you what's realistic or what's achievable? You know, I've worked with thousands of different people over the years, and nobody has ever come up with goals that are so outlandish that I even thought this is unrealistic or unachievable, or not relevant. If anything, the people I've worked with over the years have underplayed it. They've gone for an easier goal than they could really go for. So, you know, you're going to have to check this for yourself, but get that decision made about where it is that you want to go. Check, 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 check. Really, why? Make it specific, measurable, and timely. And to hell with anyone's opinion about whether it's achievable or realistic. You trust yourself on that. And then, once you're absolutely sure you've done your research, and yes, the research has reinvigorated and confirmed your motivation to wanting to achieve this goal, then you go into planning. Because if it's an out of reach goal, this is not something you can just spend a weekend on and do. Yeah, this needs to be planned. And the best way of doing that is to break it down into its constituent parts. And again, they'll be different for whatever your goal is. And if you can work out what each of those steps are, so you'll know, well, I'm at this step now, and in order to get to step 2 I need to do A, B and C. Boom. Then I'm at step 2, then I do D, E and F. Great. Then I'm at step 3, I do G, H and I. Great. Then step 4, etc. Each of those steps become goals on the way to the big goal, and you'll notice your steps are achievements in their own right, which can reinvigorate, remotivate you to achieving the big goal, because you know you're making progress. Yeah, these big out of reach goals can seem a long way away, and they are by definition. So giving yourself those steps and the pats on the back as you achieve each of them can be really useful. The other key point that I want to share with you about out of reach goals is one that isn't often talked about, and that is gathering support. Who can support you in this goal? Who would love to support you? You know, my experience with people is we love to support other people. And if I got a phone call from a friend of mine saying, look, I've got this idea, I want to do this, but I feel a bit scared of it, it's a bit out of my reach, could I call on you for support? Lovely. It's absolutely lovely. So I wonder who you could give that gift to, of being a support to you in your goal. Yeah, you can arrange with them what that support looks like. But if you can create 1 or 2 or 3, however many people is right for you, who you can have in your corner, being your champions, roaring you on, going to if there's an issue, there can be a really significant part of your success. And let's be honest, success shared with others is far more pleasurable than single individual success. You're not relying on them. They're not doing the work for you, but they're there with you. And they can also help you with this final point, which is all about overcoming obstacles. Because if we're talking about a difficult out of reach goal, there will be difficulties. Because if there aren't any, it's an easy goal. So one way of minimizing the impact of these obstacles is to prepare for them, to look out for them. So spend some time with one of your supporters, perhaps, identifying what the potential obstacles are in advance. So you may think, oh, well, I won't have enough time to devote to the research, for example, or I'm going to study to get a new qualification, and I won't have time to do all the studying while I'm also doing my job and looking after the kids or whatever other commitments you are. Once you identify the obstacles in advance, they tend to have a far lesser effect on you than if you discover them or sort of they slap you around the head and I wasn't expecting that. So the more potential obstacles you can find in advance, the least power they will have to deflect from you achieving your goals. So, quick recap. Spend so much time on getting clear on what your goal is. Research. And then when you're ready to commit to it with all of yourself, then commit to it. Then get your plan together, get a support team around you, look out for those obstacles in advance, and then do the work. Do what needs to be done in order to achieve your goal. And please, if you have a goal, share it with me on the comments below. And when you achieve it, I would love to know about it. I'll join in the celebrations with you. So if you've liked this video, if you think it's useful, if you think it's useful for other people, please like and subscribe for more videos like this.